kick it off, we're going to start with session one. And this session focuses on why Americans are moving and why they plan to move within the next 2 years. Hopefully, you can use this information to craft your marketing and sales strategy. So we're going all the way from the top, marketing and sales, and getting those leads into your customer database, all the way down to how do we turn them into referral customers. So I'm your host and moderator, Wonjun, founder and CEO of Supermove. And with me today, I have Nick DiMoro, who's the founder and chief marketing officer at Mover Marketing AI. Nick has worked in the industry for years, building marketing strategies, and now he's leveraging that expertise to help moving companies through AI. Thanks for joining us, Nick.
Thanks so much for having me, Wonjun. I really appreciate it. This is awesome.
Yeah, we'd love for you to introduce yourself to everyone. This will be, yeah, we'd love to hear.
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for about 7 years now. I started as a salesperson, and through that process, I helped grow a moving company organically through marketing, and that's what I went to school for initially. So I ended up discovering that not only do I love the moving industry, but marketing is my passion, and I really enjoy that aspect of the business more so than operations, but we still need those operations guys, of course. So
well, what's wrong with what's wrong with operations?
Well, for me, it's a headache. I prefer thinking about those creative problems more so. So that's where I've always, found more success focusing on for me personally. So that's why I'm really happy to be a part of this panel talking about, the where and why of people move. I think that's really important to think about. Because at the end of the day, we're dealing with humans, we're dealing with people with emotions, not just numbers on a screen. And the way we communicate with people is extremely important.
Awesome. So you were in the industry running a moving company or being part of various moving companies. And then you were like, you know what? I think I can do this marketing stuff better, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
That's awesome. What are some interesting things that you've learned recently that really caught you off guard as you started this journey?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, the fact that people are actually very similar. We like to think we're all like unique, and we are in our own ways, but I think a lot of people have a lot of the same problems. And so I think that is an opportunity and a benefit to us to realize that, it's really going to be easier for us to connect one-on-one with people when we're doing sales or marketing, when we really try to discover and identify exactly what is going on in their lives, what they're dealing with at the moment, and the right way to communicate with them. So that would be the number one thing. Is like, I thought everyone was very, very unique and special and, kind of an enigma, but actually, no, I think a lot of people are dealing with a lot of the same life situations, and it's something that's actually more of an opportunity for us to consider.
Okay, that's super interesting. Yeah, how about we jump in to the first section of the data within our report that kind of like ties in with what you just said. So yeah, super excited. So we surveyed hundreds of Americans, and this is one of the first questions that we asked. Why are you moving? And they got to choose from a different list of options. And the number one reason that Americans are expecting to move within the next 2 years, to be in fact, it's every 2 in 5 Americans, it's due to affordability. Next to affordability, millennials and the younger generation are moving for more space and career shifts, whereas the Gen X and older move for downsizing and being close to family, which sort of makes sense when you're going out through your journey of life. As you're younger, you want more space, and as you get older, you might want less space. So demographic insights like this are super valuable. Nick, so when you saw this data, and when you think about the different moving companies that you're helping out with, how do you use this information? How do you get this data, and then how do you approach it when you're operating these and helping out these moving companies? Is this information valuable to you as a moving company operator?
Absolutely. And, I'll just say kudos to Supermove for even running a survey like this. In the field of statistics and data, it's very hard to get this kind of information that is reliable. And I know you worked with a firm, Sentiment, to get this data and run a real professional research survey to get this data. Not a lot of people are doing surveys like this. So I think the government does a U.S. Census. This U.S. Census does a American Community Survey. Zillow may be doing some surveys as well. You could probably find information in local real estate databases in your county
Yep.
and your city. And they'll have stuff like demographics and trends in housing, and maybe also your local government or the business, more the private business side. You can find economic development offices for most cities that are looking to grow. They have a lot of data and information analyses you can depend on, and also are also good places to network with business leaders in your community as well. So I would recommend, if you don't know your local economic development office, get to know them, because they're going to be a really great resource for you, not only for data, but business relationships.
Yep, 100%. So when I saw this data, I saw that, like, majority of people are looking for more affordable cost of living, and it's actually half of that base is Gen Z and the younger and the older folks. When you see that, how do you think moving companies should be adapting to, two in every five leads that they're going to get are looking to move into a cheaper, more affordable living situation? How do you think moving companies can sort of accommodate that need?
Yeah, so I look at it from a marketing lens of where's the opportunity and how do we kind of leverage that the most. I think that you would want to look at, other professionals or businesses that deal with this life transition at this stage of life, to kind of network and get involved in that part of that business transaction. People like estate attorneys, financial planners, those types of people are going to be great to collaborate with, because
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones who advise these people who are looking to downsize. Estate planning, retirement planning, all these are massive businesses as well, and these are great opportunities and places to look.
Okay. Yeah, fantastic. I also see that being close to family or getting a new job is also pretty high up there. Um, do you recommend for moving companies to figure out the exact? Yeah, we can consider these like personas, right, of different moving customers. Do you think these personas matter in how we sell them the move throughout the process or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of going back to what I said initially, like a lot of us were very similar, when we're in a similar life situation. If you're a Gen X or an older demographic, you're probably going to be found more on platforms like Facebook, or maybe you're still getting the newspaper. Honestly, it's true.
No.
And radio. I will be honest, like my mom has been sending me a lot more TikToks lately. Honestly, too much, but a lot of older people are starting to join TikTok now. So there are a lot of ways to target these people with messaging that's going to resonate with them. And on these channels, you can definitely target by demographic, especially on the digital ones. It's easy to do. So I think making sure your messaging is talking about that transition in an empathetic and passionate way, that really speaks to the reason why they're doing something, and how you can help. I think that's really understanding that transition and how to communicate that is key. And I think it actually is fairly easy for a moving company to do.
Yeah. For folks that are on the call, would love, as we go through this, do you currently ask a customer why they're moving as part of the sales process? And if so, why do you do that? Why does that matter? Why has that been important? Cool. On the flip side, let's say you're living in like a lower cost of living city. So you're servicing moves in a lower cost of living city. It's likely that if someone's looking for affordable cost of living, they might be moving into that city. So are there specific marketing and sales strategies that you think moving companies can incorporate to capture that incoming demand? How do you appear in the search results for people that are coming into your city if you're living in a cheaper city typically?
Yeah, so I would consider like the millennial generation, younger families. These are the types of people we're talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
In your marketing, you could emphasize white picket fence, a spacious house. You're looking for more space. You're looking for maybe more affordable living. But also in a city environment, because there's job opportunities there, and these young families and millennials need those. So I think maybe potentially offering more career-oriented services like people who are moving for careers, maybe expedited or flexible moving schedules that kind of
Mhm.
give people that peace of mind to know, like, even though my job transition is not going to be super smooth, I can depend on my moving company to adjust for my needs. You can also get involved in community in your area. A lot of people like to test out a city before they move there, and you can probably find them at local events and any kind of online communities as well, just to kind of increase your visibility in that arena.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've also seen some customers where, if they're, let's say they live in a huge city and there's some areas of the city that are a little bit lower cost of living and some areas that are higher cost of living. One thing that they do is that they'll go to different real estate agents in the higher cost of living areas. And because they have a lower cost of living with their crews and their staff, they have lower costs. They can actually come in a little bit cheaper than the other options that those people might be considering. And as long as you put together the branding and the marketing where it seems just as white glove as any other option, you actually create a really healthy competition dynamic and you can start winning more of those leads. So some of the best companies actually like do a lot of outbound type of work that I've seen. I don't know if you've seen the same.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's honestly, it is a lot more work. It's a lot more intentional strategy and tactics, and maybe you know uh, running on the ground and networking and stuff like that. But the benefit is there because it is harder to do, and not everyone's going to do it. So if you take that opportunity, you'll definitely benefit from it.
Yeah. And it also helps. Like if you look through your data of all the past moves, you'll probably be able to see, even on like a local or a state or city level, which common counties like are people moving to us from, moving to our area the most, and then targeting those different real estate agents and brokers there first might be huge. So yeah, interesting. Cool. Yeah, let's go to the next. All right. So, out of the survey, we saw that half the Americans surveyed are planning to move within the city. Longer moves are usually due to bigger life changes. So you can see that in the blue, these are the biggest reasons why they move within a city. So if someone is actually looking for affordable cost of living, they're actually moving within the city most of the time. And if they're moving between states, it's split between a few common reasons. It's either a new job, being closer to family, better weather, and also cheaper places. So while this is normal, we've seen that a majority of moves within America are local. We all know that. But the average move distance has gone over time. So as a moving company, when you're doing the sales and marketing and you decide which types of move to service, whether you use your resources for local or long distance moves, how do you think moving companies can structure their sales and marketing and make that decision, you think?
I mean, we're seeing this as a trend. People are honestly holding off a little bit on those bigger moves at the moment, right in this moment, but we're going to see an onslaught of more long distance
Yeah.
moves, and I think in this year. But at the same time, there is a trend towards more local moves. So as you see in the survey, I think that when we collect data, we're looking at the data from a little bit in the past, right? So everything's very dynamic and things can change on a dime very quickly. So keep that in mind, everybody, when we're looking at data, like we're looking at a trend, and maybe that trend does reverse. So I think definitely if you're a local mover, you're probably doing 60 to 80% of your business in local moves. So I think that is where you should focus your marketing efforts on. Develop a strong reputation in that arena. And those long distance moves, those bigger revenue profit jobs, those will come naturally. But it's really, as a marketing person myself in moving, it's really difficult to target just long distance. And so we see a better return, really focusing on being that friendly hometown local mover.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that too. Local moves almost act as lead generation for the long distance move, right? If you get a referral customer or returning customer later on, when they do want to move from the state, the first company they reach out to is typically you. So having that ready, know how to handle that is important. Yeah. Cool. Let's go to the next. So we've all seen these types of maps before, but this is what's going to happen in the future because these are the Americans that are moving within the next 2 years. Is this sort of similar to what we're already seeing today? So according to Move Buddha, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, and California. Sorry, yeah, those three states are the top inbound states. The way that they ran this report is that it's like an in to out ratio because Move Buddha sees a lot of searches about where people want to move. It shows which customers are looking to move the most in and most out for various states. And if you are mostly moving out of that state, that gets highlighted as red in this document. If you're mostly moving into that state, it gets highlighted as green. Looks like Montana is going to have a lot of people coming in pretty soon. So mountain states are picking up the heat. There are clear trends that we see in this report. It's usually based on life circumstances, like we saw in the previous slide, but most importantly, cost of living. So how do you think moving companies can use this regional demand to book more moves?
Well, listen, if you're a moving company in one of these mountain states, you're in a good position. And also, if you're in one of these states where people are moving out of, yeah, in the short term, you're in a great position. Hopefully, it bounces back for you in the future. California, Washington, Illinois, Connecticut, New York. People are moving out of these states for very specific reasons. Most likely, like we said in the beginning of the conference here, affordability is the number one reason. There could be better living conditions in these more southern states or mountain states. Maybe they have family that has already retired to these states that they want to go be near. So, inbound states, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, like you said, you could potentially, if you're nearby, increase your presence in more of these areas if you're able to service them. But I would really try to focus the marketing aspect more on, what are their needs? Are they people who are retiring, or are they young professionals? And those two different types of people or personas are going to require two different types of marketing campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
So I would really focus on separating and delineating these two different personas and doing different marketing for them in your state. If you're in a mountain state, a lot of people probably move in there because it's a beautiful place. It's low pollution. It's got beautiful views, and there's a lot of outdoor stuff to do. That's a persona right there. People who are active and doing sports, and that's kind of like a way to kind of massage and do some really cool marketing around, hey, come to this awesome state in Montana. We have all this, whitewater rafting and really cool things to do. And that helps brand your company and make you stand out a little bit more from the pack.
Yeah. So it's interesting. By understanding why they're moving and where they're moving and understanding the demographics of your customer base, you're saying that you can advertise things differently to sort of try to build a personal connection up front.
Absolutely. And that type of stuff is something that is hard to think about initially. And so if you do that, you're way ahead of the pack when it comes to catching the eye of these potential movers, I think.
Yeah, cool. Maybe for those in the chat, what have you seen in your state? Does this data sort of represent where you think your customers are moving to and moving from? And how's that impacted your business? Cool. As people answer that, Nick, any sort of last thoughts when you saw this data? Anything you want to help or recommend to these various moving companies that are on the call?
Yeah, if you're in one of these outbound states, it's gonna be tougher when it comes to pricing. You're gonna want to make sure you're competitive in pricing to capture those outbound movers because they're moving for affordability reasons mostly, as we
Yeah.
know. So if they're looking
Yep.
to live in a more affordable place, they're probably looking for a good deal on move too. So consider that, try to be cost effective for them and understand that that's one of their needs, one of their primary needs. Inbound states, people are probably looking for more premium services. If it's like a retirement community, retiring place, like a beautiful state, packing and unpacking services. I want to mention unpacking as well. It's something that we don't do very often typically, but it's something we can do, right? And most of our companies will do that and offer that, but we don't really focus on it too much. And so some of these more older demographics, they would appreciate that. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there to talk about unpacking if it's something that your crew can handle. And that'll increase revenue right there. So I think that is a service that we don't talk enough about.
Yeah, that's a super cool thought. So let's say you're in a mixed state where you have a lot of people that are moving out or moving out of the city for affordability reasons, and you get a lot of customers that have more money to have like a better movie experience. From what I know, a lot of moving companies usually offer the same type of service, same type of options for both. Have you seen moving companies that offer like different pricing and packaging for the various types of customers that they could service?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely certain services that a lot of movers don't do, and then maybe like one or two will do. Moving like super heavy items like pool tables and gun safes and hot tubs and jacuzzis, that kind of stuff will set you apart if you can handle it, if you have a special crew that can do it, or if you find a third party that can handle it that you just call upon so that you can just make that process super seamless for your customer. That type of stuff will set you apart because I know a lot of companies will just say, hey, we don't do that, and then they leave it up to the customer to deal with it. I like to kind of urge, my clients, anyone who I'm working with, like try to be the problem solver for your customer. They're going to really appreciate that because moving is honestly the most stressful time in a person's life. So
Mm-hmm.
the more we can do to help them, I think not only does that help your reputation, but your revenue will show for it too. So.
Cool. Awesome. Any other final thoughts?
No, this has been really fun. This is a really cool topic, very interesting discussion, and I really appreciate the survey, the time, and resources you use to get this done. It's really cool.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for hopping on.